Well, it has exactly been 70 days since the 2024-25 season officially was over. Now we go into a new season of the 2025-26 season as well. First of all, hello and welcome here to this video, and today, well, it's a Premier League prediction video. For a third season running, we will be doing a Premier League prediction video. Hopefully this video gets more views than the other one did. It didn't really get that great views, but so hopefully this one can be a better one, because this will be the first video of many to come in the month of August, which, well, is exciting. It is very, very exciting. So first of all, let's get straight underway, and let me tell you the teams who will get relegated, starting off with 20th position. So, in last position, in 20th place, I have got my local club, Burnley. And this isn't my local club, but this is the nearest club to the other Premier League teams. I think it's about a half an hour drive from where I live to get to Turf Moor. It is, for people who live in the Manchester area, or especially in the Lancashire area, the easiest away day to get to, as previously known by me when I did go to Burnley, which will be featured right now. But, yeah, Burnley, 20th position. I just think Burnley, they're lacking something big this season. I mean, granted, they did really well defensively. They were solid. They've added a few players too, with Hartman from Feyenoord, Bashir Humphries from Chelsea, which will help the team, gel. However, I don't think they've got much. I think forward, who's going to score? I mean, Marcus Edwards, who they did sign from Sporting, good player, very good player. When he has a good potential, or when he has been trusted by a good manager, he could be something. Obviously, when he played for Sporting Lisbon, he had that spell, didn't he, I think around a couple of years ago, where he was brilliant. He scored every game. He was causing defences troubles in the Champions League. However, now he's gone a little bit off. A bit, and hopefully for Burnley fans, that can unlock their potential. And, yeah, points why I think Burnley will get relegated. Scott Parker isn't a Premier League manager. I mean, his last game was the 9-0 against Bournemouth. The last game he managed in the Premier League was when they lost 9-0, Bournemouth to Liverpool. So I don't think that'll bode well. And second of all, they haven't really signed significant players. And the loss of James Trafford will be massive in goalkeeper. I've heard they bought Dubravka, which is a better signing. It improves the goalkeeper and defence a little bit. But still, James Trafford, when he was there. I mean, he had that bet with JJ Watt, didn't he? And it almost came true. That bet, unfortunately for JJ. But the good thing is for him, it did work out. They didn't end up conceding a goal. And yeah, that was it. But it is very unlikely, for my opinion, that we will see Burnley in the Premier League next season. That is why I've given them the lowest point total I've ever done with a club, which is 18 points. Then in 19th place, we have got Leeds United. And again, Leeds, they're probably the closest team that could potentially stay in the league, but I've given them 19th place, 26 points. So they will do significantly better than Burnley, I do feel. But the gap between the Championship and the Premier League is bigger than before, and it is mentioned by the previous two seasons. The top three, obviously, who got promoted, ended up getting relegated. Same as last season. Promoted, relegated is up and top, up and down, which is a shame. But I think it will happen to Leeds. I mean, Leeds, like you say, we've got good players. We've got Daniel James, we've got Addison, we've got Wilfried Gnonto, who's still at the club, which is good for Leeds, the fact that he is still at the club. And they have done they've signed some okay players. They've signed Lucas Perry, a new goalkeeper for Bournemouth, Sean Longstaff. I know they've signed Sebastian Bono and Jakob Biol. That will help strengthen the defence. But yeah, with Leeds, I suppose Joel Pirro is an okay striker, but you need a certain level of Premier League striker to actually compete in this league, and Joel Pirro isn't it. I don't think he's it, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be proven wrong, but I don't see it. I don't really see it. I mean, the wing and potentially the midfield could do something with Brendan Aronson, Daniel James and Wilfried Gnonto, like I did discuss earlier, but I doubt it will. And Leeds could do it, like I said, but Farke hasn't done great in the Premier League. I've heard a stat today where Farke's only won 5 games in the Premier League. And if you want to stay up, that isn't good news. There were rumours of Leeds actually sacking Daniel Farke, which for the Premier League, I suppose, might have been a better move, but it was also a very risky one if it went down, because then Daniel Farke could be like, I told you so type thing. So, yeah, it was very risky. But, yeah, that is why Leeds United are going in 19th place. They've got an okay team, but I just don't think they'll survive. So, in 18th place, and the team, for me, that will only just go down will be, as the locals say, Sunderland. I think with Sunderland, they have signed really well. They've signed really good with the signings of Kempson in Talby, who was a brilliant player at Club Brugge, Granit Xhaka especially, Simon Adringa, Habib Diarra, who are all good players. Obviously, you've still got Enzo Lefebvre, who plays for them, which is a big bonus, because he's a good player. I think he is Premier League level, Enzo Lefebvre. He's I don't know why he signed for him when they're in the Championship, but now in the Premier League I can completely understand why. They are back in the Premier League for the first time since 2017, but the big business is for Sunderland, will they stay there? I don't think so. I think the other teams are just better. I think the other teams who are in there will have more physicality and more physique. Sunderland, I think there will be a lot like Luton and Ipswich with how they play, how they are a very entertaining team to watch. You can see with when they play very attacking, they play defensive, if they can play like they did at Wembley, then that would work, because they played a brilliant game tactic on Sheffield United when they were at Wembley, how they just decided to let them have all the possession and then we'll come into counter-attack. 2 counter-attack goals mostly help Sunderland get to this place, get to the Premier League, which is massive for them. That's why they've spent loads. Joe Bellingham, he's the only player that they've been concerned about. He went to Borussia Dortmund earlier in the summer, but I do think there is something missing on Sunderland. It will be a big challenge for Régis Lebris. He previously managed at Lorient, and he did okay at Lorient until he had some spells where he just went dipping down. That's why Lorient decided to sack him. But yeah, I like the manager. I like Régis Lebris, but I do think there is something with Sunderland that, yeah, I'm not sure. They will fight. I think they will give them in 17th place a challenge. However, I'm going to say Sunderland will go down. That will mean it will be a up 3, down 3 type scenario, which would be a shame. And the team that I think will just about survive will be Brentford. Brentford are going in a transition year this year. Thomas Frank leaving, Brian Mbeumo leaving, potentially Ewan Wissa leaving, Mark Flecken leaving, Christian Nørgaard leaving. They are big, high-quality players that Brentford have just let go of. Plus the manager, Thomas Frank, he went to join Tottenham Hotspur, which I think it could be a good move for him, but it depends on the scenario. Yeah, I think with Brentford, they will do significantly worse than they did last season. I believe they finished somewhere like 10th last season, Brentford, which is incredible, really, for Brentford. I mean, that's what Brentford try and operate. They're trying to be like a club that try and finish like in the top half, potentially mid-table. And they did finish in the top half last year. They finished 10th, so that was a very, very good season. And potentially, with the strikes of Brian Mbeumo and Ewan Wissa combinating, and that was the season where they got rid of Ivan Toney. So that was good. That is good business there for the Bees. But I think Keith Andrews will be under pressure from the spot. I do think that. I think from the moment, Keith Andrews will have to be ready and prepared. This is his first ever job position, and you are coaching in the Premier League. That is very, very bold. It's either a make or break situation with for Brentford, and I think it will break most of the time, but I do think it will make the fact that they will survive in the Premier League. I think they've just got what they need to survive. They've got Mikkel Darm, they've got Darmsgaard, they've got Vitaly Enold, Kieran Lewis-Potter, Seth van der Berg, even Koimin Kelleher, who is a good keeper. He was a backup keeper for Liverpool. This is his time to show how good of a keeper he can be. He's shown it at Liverpool in parts. Now he's actually playing for a proper Premier League club. So will he do well? Will he not do well? If he can keep hold of Ewan Wissa, that would be massive. However, I've heard Newcastle and potentially Liverpool are after him. So that doesn't help if them two beasts are coming. But yeah, I think for Brentford, they will just survive. I do think they'll just survive because they won't even get the illustrious 40 mark. But they will survive. They will still be in the Premier League. 16th, the team that will get the 40 mark will be West Ham United. I don't think they will do well whatsoever. I think the choice that they did, sacking David Moyes 2 seasons ago, will come to bite. I really do. I think they aren't a great team, West Ham. It says it. I know it. They aren't a great team. They play very sloppy, and I just don't think they're a great team. Depending on Nicholas Füllkrug, if he's fit or if he's not, that may help. I remember last season saying they had the signing of the summer, they had the transfer window of the summer. Now I think they've had one of the worst of the summer. I mean, it could be worse, it could be Newcastle, but I think on that basis, they haven't had really a great transfer window. They have signed El Hadji Diouf from Slavia Prague, I believe, who can fit. He can fit in that system. He can fit in that system alongside Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who are very good wing backs. But I just don't think. I think defence is lacking. You've got Totibo, Mavropanos, and Kilman potentially. That isn't a great defence, is it? That isn't a great defence. That for me stinks a defence. That for me leaks defence. I don't think that's a great defence, especially up against the Premier League boys. And yeah, I mean, potentially he could have Neif Aguado, could be in it. He is now at West Ham United, following that loan at Real Sociedad, which might have helped him, but I don't think the football will be entertaining. I don't think they'll be entertaining, but they'll get results to stay up. Graham Potter, on the other hand, I believe he will be the first Premier League manager to be sacked. I think West Ham, they will expect a lot bigger than this, and I think that's why Graham Potter will be sacked, and I think there will be another guy who replaces him, potentially until the end of the season. But yeah, West Ham, don't get your hopes up, because I'm putting you in 16th. 15th, Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think Vitor Pereira will sustain them a little bit. Obviously, at the end of the season, they had a brilliant second half of the season to eventually stay in the league. They were threatening getting relegated under Gary O'Neill. Gary O'Neill eventually got sacked, replaced by Vitor Pereira, and it worked. It worked. It just clicked, and everything worked. And that is why he will bring some stability in this Wolves side. He will do. I mean, the way how Wolves play, the way how they plan out, will bring some sustainability. And having Jørgen Strand Larsen officially signing as a Wolves player will help. He was one of the most informed players in the Premier League at the end of last season, Jørgen Strand Larsen. So keeping him will help. Alongside the new sign of Jon Arias from Fluminense, you did obviously see him in the Club World Cup. He was very good. He was a very good player. He was effective in that Club World Cup. So Wolves will help in that. Wolves will help with that. That's it. Granted, they did get rid of Mateus Cunha and Brian and Yuri, obviously to the two Manchester clubs. Doesn't help, but I don't think that will affect him. I really don't think that will affect him. I think the fact that obviously Cunha is in the starlight a lot, and now he isn't, will help Wolves and will take that starlight out of the way, and it will bring stability and calm, and I think that is how Wolves will play with my 15th finish. And then in 14th place, it might come as a bit of a shock, but I have gone for AFC Bournemouth. And, well, I think you know why I've gone for Bournemouth in 14th. Defence has been decimated with outgoings, featuring Milos Kerkez, Dean Huijsen, potentially Ilya Zabarny, who is linked with going to Paris Saint-Germain. I believe it is more or less confirmed he will be going to Paris Saint-Germain. So that defence will have took one hell of a beating. But the good thing is they can improve with all that money. I mean, they could potentially be going up to £130 million from them 3 players, which massively helps, and they can then recruit new players. Julian Araujo now will be, I believe he will be the main player for Bournemouth in the defence, which I hope he is, because he is a good player when he plays for Mexico. He is a very talented player. Same as Marcos Senesi, he is also a very good defender. So I believe them two will play an influential part of how Bournemouth defend, but then they're not as good as Huijsen and Zabarny, are they? So, yeah, there you go. Also, Milos Kerkez. The attack has stayed the same with Semenyo, Kluivert, and Daniel Utara, which they will all do a good job, don't get me wrong. They will all do brilliantly. and obviously Evan Nielsen up front. But I think the defence, they will concede a lot more goals. They will score some, but they will concede a lot more goals than they usually do. That is why I'm putting them in 14th place. This also may come as a shock, the fact that I've put Nottingham Forest in 13th place. Every time I've predicted Nottingham Forest, I've predicted they've not done well, so who knows, this may bite me on the edge of the toe, like it did last season. This may do it again. But I do think with Nottingham Forest, the European football aspect will hurt the squad. It will hurt the squad. They aren't used to playing European football. They haven't played European football in almost 20 years. So that will be a factor. That will be a factor to take in. It will be the first time, like I said, Europe for a while, and they will be playing in the Europa League, which will be more competitive. It will be more brutal than, let's say, playing in the Conference League will be. I think Mr. Marinakis would have preferred that. I think he would have preferred playing in the Europa League, because then he has two teams who are in the two major European competitions, obviously Olympiacos, who are in the UEFA Champions League, and then Nottingham Forest in the UEFA Europa League, which will help them. And you know what will also help them? Keeping Morgan Gibbs-White. That will help them massively. It will help keeping Morgan Gibbs-White. But Nuno will be under pressure immediately with Marinakis' plans. He has ambitions high. He's probably one of them owners who predicts Nottingham Forest to be in the Champions League. He has ambitions that high, and I believe if it will not be achieved this season, then I do kind of think Nuno will get sacked. I think because he is believing high, which I understand why he's believing high. Look at Aston Villa, when before they had Steven Gerrard and they had Unai Emery. Ever since, they are competing in the top 5. They've competed in the top 5 3 seasons, so that should say a lot for Aston Villa. What Nottingham Forest can achieve, but I think with Nuno is the right manager. I think Nuno is the right manager from him, but I do think if all doesn't go well, Marinakis may potentially sack him, which I hope doesn't. Dan Ndoye, good player again from Bologna, won the Coppa Italia with Bologna, which helps. But I do think they will struggle a lot this year with fatigue. That is why I'm putting them in 13th place. In 12th place, and for the first time I will ever use this stadium on a predictor, it is Everton and the Hill Dickinson Stadium, which is their brand new stadium alongside Bramley-Moore Dock. They have finally moved into this place. Finally moved into this place, which massively helps them. They have been set back from obviously playing in Goodison Park. This was their final year, and last year was their final year, and now they are moving to the new stadium, which it's a good thing. It's a good thing for Everton. And under David Moyes, I think they couldn't have been in a better place really than now. If they were under Deitch, they could have gone down, but they decided to make the move. The risky Freakling Group decided to hire David Moyes from West Ham, and well, it's been a breeze really then for Everton. It has really been a breeze, which helps them a lot. Quite simply. And I think with Everton, unlike previous seasons, they will not need to worry with the threat of relegation. But obviously it depends on what Everton you get. You could get a really bad Everton that just comes and leaks in 3-4 goals, but then you could get a really good Everton at the same time, which, like we played against Manchester United in that last pre-season game, they played really compact and they tried to harass Manchester United, and they did it quite well. That is why they got the 2-2 draw. And if they play like that, I think they could potentially finish here, maybe high. If they don't, possibly 14th, 15th. They'll be a tough and physical team, I reckon. And well, you know that's what a David Moyes team is really about, really. A physical and compact team. That's how they play. They've signed a few players and all. They've signed Tieno Barry, obviously Carlos Alcaraz. They've got Kieran Dewsbury-Hall from Chelsea. But I know Jack Grealish, he is rumoured to join Everton, which will massively boost in their attack with Enjoy, Grealish, and potentially Beto or Barry thingy, which too. So, them two help. You've got Idrissa again in the midfield with James Garner and Tim Uribunum. Defensively, they were brilliant against United, but I think it will be hard for them to play at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. It was for West Ham when they moved to the London Stadium. They struggled. However, they did end up staying up in the league, and I think that is exactly the same like Everton. They will be safe and sound. They will not need to worry, but it will be hard, and it will be hard to adjust. That is why I've put them in 12th place. And then at the top half of the bottom half, we are going for Crystal Palace. So I think we'll finish in 11th place. Granted, they do have a very, very good squad, obviously qualified into Europe via the FA Cup. I do think the only concern, however, is the European football aspect. The European football plus the Premier League games will hurt the squad with fatigue. Crystal Palace have never ever played in Europe. This will be the first ever time that Steve Parish and Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace will ever play in Europe. And I do think that will take a toll on them. I think it will take on the squad, because the squad is pretty slim. They don't have a big, massive squad, Palace. The same 11 that you usually have are usually the 11 that you would see. And I do think that is a problem when you are going for the long-term aspects if you want to compete for European football again. That is why in my eyes, they won't get that. However, they could easily win the Europa Conference League. I think they could easily win the Europa Conference League. If that is the case, they would go back into Europe with the UEFA Europa League, which hopefully then they would get the Europa League from winning the Conference League. I mean, UEFA would pretty much have to do it. They would be messed up if they didn't. But, yeah, I think Crystal Palace will have a good season like they usually do, and they will stay mid-table. They haven't really signed anyone apart from Bonasouza, who is a good player, Bonasouza, from Ajax, and Walter Benitez, who will probably range as like a backup goalkeeper to Dean Henderson. But, yeah, I think that's really it for Crystal Palace. I think they've got a good manager. If they can keep Eberici Eze, that would help a lot. And Jean-Philippe Mateta, if they can have them two firing goals, assisting each other, then that is Crystal Palace perfect for Europe and the league. But I think the squad depth will be a lot for Crystal Palace. That is why I have them in 11th. So now let's go to the top half of the table. And 10th, I am saying it will go to Fulham. I think Fulham will finish in 10th place. Another bold prediction, but I think the way how the team were, how they played last season, the fact that they haven't got rid of anyone and they haven't bought anyone, for me, will make them a better team. I do. I think the fact that there's been no outgoings. Well, there's been a few outgoings, but not significant outgoings. The only two significant ones really have been Willian and Carlos Benitez. Barring from that, that's really it. There's been no one. Willian and Carlos Vinicius. There's been no one. I mean, I have heard for an ingoing, I've heard Kevin from Shakhtar Donetsk will join Fulham, which would be a good move for them. Would be a good move, because then it doesn't pressure either Alex Iwobi or Adama Traore to play every week. And Kevin, he's very fast. He's a very fast winger. I've seen a bit of it when he played in the Champions League for Shakhtar, and he was a very quick player, so I'm sure he would do a good job for Fulham on that part. But yeah, I mean, Fulham, I think they're the team in the right place at the minute. I don't think Fulham are one of them where I think they'll stay where they are. I think they'll stay 10th. I don't think they'll go any higher, but yeah, I don't think they'll go any lower. I think Fulham will have an okay season. But the problem is, I think Marco Silva will be considered. I think other teams who maybe sack the manager, maybe like West Ham or something, will be looking at Marco Silva thinking we will get him. And I reckon he could go to one of the top clubs. Granted, I don't know, but that could also happen. And yeah, Fulham, they've got a good defence. They've got Kenny Tete, Anderson, Calvin Bassey and Anthony Robertson. Anthony Robertson proved himself to be a Premier League left back. So who knows? I thought he could have been the next Andy Robertson, but that was Kirkish's job. He went to Liverpool. So Robinson at Fulham is massive. I think they will help him a lot, and I think Fulham will do quite well. So that is why I will say they will finish in 10th place. Then in 9th, I've gone for Tottenham. I've gone for one at Big Boys. I'm going for one at Big Boys in 9th. I think they will struggle. I think they will struggle quite a lot, actually, Tottenham. I think, they're a good team. They have promises, obviously. They won the UEFA Europa League. So they must be a good team if they've won a European trophy, and they did. So that is why. But I've put him 9th because I think he'll struggle, mate, Thomas Frank. Everyone's saying he'll do well. He's a Premier League accustomed manager. David Moyes was the Premier League accustomed manager. You know what happened to him? He got sacked after 6 months at United. And do you know what? It won't surprise me if the similar happens to Spurs. If this similar, exact same situation happens to Spurs where where Thomas Frank ends up struggling, Daniel Levy sacks him, and then they might get Marco Silva. I don't know. But I could see that happening. I could see that. Don't get me wrong, they've got a good team, obviously. They've signed okay. They've signed Mami Kudus. I know João Palhinha. He will bolster their midfield. He will help bolster the midfield with Bentancur, Palhinha, and then maybe Brennan Johnson or someone. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see. That'll be interesting to see what can happen, especially in the midfield role where James Maddison would usually occupy. Now, he would be playing, however, he picked up an ACL injury, so he is out for most of the season. So Tottenham will have to sign one of them. Kudus could play there. Kudus could play at the attacking midfield, then have Brennan Johnson on the wing, but we don't know. We don't know. That's the beauty of football, and that is what Thomas Frank will have to consider. As I think Tottenham will massively struggle next season. That's why I'm putting them in 9th. And then in 8th place, potentially occupying a European spot, I have gone for Brighton and Hove Albion. And I think they will finish in 8th place. Brighton do what Brighton do. They recruit really, really well. It's Tony Bloom, it's whoever he directs, are the best scouts in football. No words, they are the best scouts in football without a shadow of a doubt. They are. I mean, the players that they have made, the players that they have bought and that have made are fantastic. I mean, look at the players we've sold to Chelsea. João Pedro now, Moses Caicedo, Marco Correa, Robert Sanchez. They're all okay people. I mean, Robert Sanchez is a bit of a shout, but they are all fantastic footballers, in the other three. And, they went to Chelsea. I reckon Brian probably got £200 million from them, which they will take any day of the week. But, I mean, they've sold, but they have bought really well. The popular signing was Greek international Karalampos Kostoulouis from Olympiacos, £34.6 million, which you could say is a lot, to be fair, for a Greek player, especially for someone who's playing for Olympiacos, but he might be a really good player. He might be a really good player. I mean, he's not played yet, but he is young and up and coming. He's 18-year-old. He will have potential. He will have massive potential, I'm sure. So, I'm sure he will do a good job. But the signings and all, you've got Kostoulouis, Young Du Young, Oliver Buscaglia from PSV, rumoured really, really good defender from PSV, Maxim de Kuiper from Club Brugge. They are all good players. They're all good players from Club Brugge. I mean, they sold Simon Adringa and Pervis Estupinian. Estupinian, I think, will be the bigger loss rather than Adringa. Pedro is a huge loss. We've seen João Pedro recently for Chelsea. Play brilliant, magnificent football. They're a good team. They are a good team. And, they're good at recruiting people like that, Brighton. So that is why I think Brighton will do a good job. Because they like to sustain themselves in a top 10, potentially, European football finish. And they will be a bogey team for a lot of teams and they'll still perform well. I mean, they always do. They always are a bogey team. They always are. For every top 6 club, the team you do not want to play is Brighton. Because they will cause you trouble. They'll cause you trouble. And look, they caused Liverpool trouble when they won the league. So if that doesn't say a lot, I don't know what does. But yeah, Brighton, good team. They'll get European football. That's why they're in 8th. Then here we go. Manchester United in 7th place. The lowest I've ever put Manchester United, by the way, is here in 7th place. I just feel like with Manchester United, they've got stuff short. There's things short that Manchester United need to compete, and they've left it a little bit short. I mean, first of all, a goalkeeper and a midfielder is what United need, and if they get that, then they may go up some positions, but I just don't think they will. I think potentially midfield. I think it'll either be midfielder or goalkeeper will get, and that's it. We won't get 2. United won't get 2. We don't have that much money. So, I think that is why United will just either... I mean, Baliba, we've heard we're getting Baliba, which would be a good shout. Or Donnarumma, the goalkeeper. Donnarumma would be a fantastic buy for Manchester United. Baliba would also be a good buy for Manchester United, but then it comes with the cost then and thinking what we're going to do. So, yeah, I think that is why we're a little bit short, but I do think the attack of Bryan Mbeumo, Mateus Cunha and Benjamin Šeško will do a whole lot better than the attack we had last season. A whole lot better without a shadow of a doubt. And I do think no European football will help Ruben Amorim and his squad because he's only playing 1 game a week. Some of these teams like Palace and Forest, they might be playing 3 times a week. Ruben Amorim and United won't have that. United will only be playing once a week, which will help which will help the players, will help Amorim to teach and develop the players of becoming better players at the end. So I think that is why United will finish 7th and they will compete for a European trophy. I'm begging United win the Carabao Cup because it is on my birthday. The actual day falls on my birthday, 22nd of March 2026, and if that would be very, very poetic on my part if United win a trophy on my birthday. So that is why I'm hoping Man United win the Carabao Cup. I think United could win the Carabao Cup this season because all the other teams will be resting, they'll all be focusing in Europe, whilst United will be focusing on that one trophy, and that will be the Carabao Cup. FA Cup we might do well too, but I think the Carabao Cup will have more concentration on because we're only in 2 cup competitions now. So I think that is why United will do okay if they win a trophy. Good morale. And that's all United want. So I think that is why United will finish in 7th place. So in 6th place, I think it will be Newcastle United who will occupy this spot. They finished 5th last year. I think they'll just finish 1 below with the exact same points tally. I think the top 5 will get more points than Newcastle. That is why they will finish in 6th. And I think even if Isak is likely to leave, the midfield will most likely win games for the Toon. I do. I think their midfield is one of the best midfields in the Premier League. Joe Linton, Guimaraes, Tonali. Them 3, for me, are unstoppable as a midfield 3. When they play on their day, they are brilliant. They're a brilliant team to watch. I watched them last year. They're the best team I've seen at Old Trafford. So I know what they can do. I know what Eddie Howe and Newcastle can do. But I think Isak, if Isak leaves, that will be a huge hole in their team. I think it will be a huge hole as a whole with a presence. So I do think that will be a bit of a problem. But like you say, the midfield will most likely win games. I think the defence too have issues. I mean, having Fabian Schär and Sven Botman, they're okay, but they're not world-class defenders, really. They're not defenders that you'd say are going to challenge for the top 4 or anything, them defenders. So I do think there is some vulnerability in that side. But apart from that, I think they're okay. I mean, adding Anthony Elanga too only bolsters the pace, really, what they've got. So that is a good thing for Newcastle. And yeah, I think Newcastle will have, it won't be a successful season compared to last year, but it'll still be a good season that the Geordies will surely be happy with. So that is why I've put them in 6th. In 5th, I'm going for the Villa. I'm going for Aston Villa in 5th. I think, quite simple, Unai Emery. The Unai Emery effect will take toll. And I think it will be a good thing for Aston Villa. It will benefit them rather than not. That is why I have them being in 5th and occupying that last UEFA Champions League place. They were so close to doing it last year. However, the one thing they had to do was just to beat Manchester United, and they didn't do that. Even when they lost the Europa League, even when they didn't really care about the game, they lost, which is a problem, which was an issue for Villa. That's why they got Europa League. But I do think the Europa League is a bit of a blessing in disguise because they will win it. And it's only because of the manager, Unai Emery. Simple as that. He is the Europa League genius. He is the prince of that Europa League. He knows how to win that Europa League. He is the darling of the Europa League. I think he's won it 4 times as a manager. I think he will win it for a 5th time with Aston Villa. And that will be a good thing. And I think the outgoings, not much outgoings, will help to stay in the team, similar to Fulham. The fact that they haven't signed anyone. They've signed someone, I know recently, they signed Evan Guisson from Nice. Good signing. But it's not really a standout. And for outgoings, they haven't really outsigned anyone. The only player they did do was Enzo Berenchia, who went to Benfica. So I think that's okay. Good for him, obviously having a bit of a loan, but that's it. And I think Aston Villa will do really well with that. I think they will do well. There is potential, however, with Ollie Watkins, if he'll leave, if he won't. I think if he'll leave, Villa will be a different team. But I don't think he will. I don't think Villa will let him. And I think Villa will have a very good season. Villa Park will still be a fortress, and they will finish 5th. In 4th place, I have gone for Chelsea, and I have gone for a significant points margin comparing to the others, with 75 points. I think these top 4 teams will brush away the Premier League. I think, comparing to all other the top 4 races, I think this one will be fairly more scarier, which doesn't help really, but I think they will do very well, Chelsea. And I think the World Cup money that they did receive will definitely help them. Not just for this season, but for the long term. Chelsea will be in for everyone. And they are. João Pedro, Jamie Gittins, Liam Delap, Estevao. They all bought. Good players. very good players, especially Estevao. We've seen him at the Club World Cup. He was brilliant. We saw him at Chelsea against AC Milan. He played brilliant. He scored a goal too in that game. So I think them three will be a generational trio. Cole Palmer, João Pedro and Estevao. I mean, who knows what you're going to have. You might have Jamie Gittins, you might have Liam Delap playing, but I just think them three will shine in this Premier League. I really do. And I think Chelsea will do really well. I think there will be a candidate for the Champions League this year. I think they could easily win that Champions League. I have strong faith in Chelsea that they can go and win it. They're good at that type of scenario. They're very good at knockout competitions. I mean, everyone thought they wouldn't win the Club World Cup. Well, they did beat Paris Saint-Germain 3-0, which is very, very impressive in its own right. So, I think Chelsea, I think they are the ones to watch this season. I think the team that you should watch out for is Chelsea, because they could win the league. I know Gianluigi Donnarumma is interested in Manchester United or Chelsea. I think if Chelsea get Donnarumma, they could potentially win that league. I think they could do something. So, Chelsea, watch out on them. Watch out on Chelsea, because I think they could do something that not a lot of people would predict. But I've gone for the safe option in fourth. Third is a team who I'd never thought I'd ever put this low, but after the last season, I think I am going to put them this low, and it's Manchester City. And you know it is low, because when I've always done my prediction videos, Man City are the ones that usually lift the title. But this year, no. This year, no. We're putting the stadium on instead, because I think with Manchester City, they're transitioning. That's what I think. I think they're transitioning Manchester City. They will be a better product later on in the future, but I think they're transitioning into a better team. I think Pep Guardiola City this year will fall short, but will just fall short. I think comparing to the other two, which are Liverpool and Arsenal, I don't think City will be able to compete with them. They've signed good players and they've done most of their business early. Like they've signed Tijani Reinders, Ait Nouri, Ryan Cherkis, Ferdinand Naripan, who will be one for the future, and Marcus Bettettini, who will be playing as a goalkeeper, backup goalkeeper, I think, for Stefan Ortega. So, yeah, there you go. And City's team is still a good team, by the way. It's still a good team. I mean, that midfield, Rodri, Reinders and Omar Mamouche, that's a good midfield. That's a very good midfield. But I do think with City, it's not a standout. It doesn't stand out to me as well as the others. It doesn't stand out, that team. They've got the squad depth, so that counts. They could go really far in the Champions League because, well, they've got the squad depth, so it counts. But I just think for the Premier League, I think Arsenal and City are better. I think we've got better players. And I think, like I said, this year will be the transition year for Guardiola. Guardiola, I don't think he'll be used to this season. Well, he weren't used to last season, so I don't think he'll be used to this one. But I think City will do well. They will obviously get into the top four, but at the same time, I think they'll just fall short on that title race. So that is why they'll finish in third. It's happened again, hasn't it? It's happened again, and I think they've missed the chance, Arsenal. I think that's what it is. They could have... I thought the seasons when they had chance, when they were leading it by Christmas, they could have won the leagues, but instead they didn't. Instead they decided to bottle it and finish second, and I think they will try and compete. I think they'll compete more than ever this season, but I just think Liverpool have too much. I think they have too much firepower, especially if they sign Alexander Isak. I think if they sign Alexander Isak, then squad depth-wise, Arsenal, you're in danger, because you've got two quality strikers that both play for him, Ekitike and Isak. So I think Arsenal, yeah, I think they missed a chance. Granted, they signed a striker, they signed Victor Gyökeres, and I think he will do wonders. He'll score 15 plus. You know what he's going to do, Victor Gyökeres. He will be an absolute star. But I think with Arsenal, they're missing something. I think they're missing something, and I think that will be a problem. That will be a problem that Arsenal will have. Granted, they do have a good... they've brought good, especially with Zubimendi and Madueke, and especially Nørgaard. Nørgaard would be better with that squad depth, but they need two strikers. Kai Havertz isn't a striker. You've got the wingers now with Madueke, Saka and Martinelli, but I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough. And I think that is why Arsenal finished second, and I fear for Arteta. I think if they do not win a trophy this season, Mikel Arteta will be sacked. I do. It reminds me of England and Gareth Southgate, how he did really well he took us to where we could do, but then you could tell his time were over. And it was. Obviously, he got sacked after the Euros, and Thomas Tuchel is now replacing him. It reminds me of that in Arsenal, and I do think something like that will happen. He will get sacked, and they will get someone who is a serial winner. They have to get someone who's a serial winner then, and hopefully he can deliver the goods. But with Arsenal, granted they're a really good team, but I just don't see how they can win the league, because I think the winners of the Premier League will be... I think Liverpool will win the Premier League, and that pains me to say as an opposition fan of these, but I just think they will. I think they have the best attacking threat in the league, and if they sign Isaac, oh, that's going to be frightening. That's going to be frightening, because then if he gets injured, you could put Ekitike on, and you know what Ekitike did? He did well against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield. He will just do even better, and I don't think they'll stop. The attack will not stop. They're relentless, Liverpool. They are a goal-scoring machine. They will score not 1, 2, 3, but they will score 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what they do. And because of that, they will challenge for the Champions League. I think the final of the Champions League, actually, you can clip this, will be Liverpool v Barcelona. That's what I think the final will be. I think Liverpool, they have brilliant squad depth, and I think Barcelona have brilliant squad depth, and I think both of the two clubs will challenge for the Champions League, and they might win it, Liverpool, they might win it, and they have squad depth everywhere and they can improve. I mean, look, they signed Wirtz, you've got Gakpo, you've got Wirtz in the midfield, you've got Szoboszlai, then you've got McAllister, you've got Gravenberch, you've got all of them good players who can easily play, Szoboszlai too, you can easily play in that role, you can easily play there. Attack, you've got Ekitike, potentially Wirtz, Salah, Gakpo. You've got good players there, and it will just keep getting better and better. And, yeah, it will just keep getting better and better with Liverpool. That is why I think they will win the league. I do think they'll win the league. I think City, granted, City were a good team when they had it, but I don't want it to be a dynasty. I don't think it will be, but at the same time, it will pain me to say if Liverpool win the 21st league title, because then they will finish, they'll be the best team in England then, won't they? Because they will have won more Premier League than Manchester United. And I don't like that stat, but it could come true. It could come true very, very easily. And Jeremy Frimpong too, I completely forgot about him. And Milos Kirkis, they will both be brilliant defenders that can add into that team. And it's like, no Trent Alexander-Arnold, no problem. Because you've got... like you say, you've got Frimpong, you've got Kirkes, who play in them roles, and they will all make impacts. Goalkeeper too. You've got Alisson, you've got Gugi Mamadashvili. They are, Mamadashvili in particular, from Valencia. He's a good goalkeeper. He's a good he's a good goalkeeper, he's a good shot stopper. He reminds me a bit of Donnarumma, with the way how he plays, and a younger Donnarumma too, which helps for Liverpool. And I just think overall, they will challenge, and they will be successful in their challenging, and I just think they will have more squads. They will finish up with 91 points. They'll finish more than they did last year with 84, and I just think they'll be champions. I just think that simple. I think the way Liverpool play, the way Liverpool are at the minute, I don't see anyone stopping them. And that is why I think Liverpool will be champions, and that is also why I think Arsenal, who are the next remaining challengers, will finish second for a 4th consecutive time. So, that is my Premier League predictions all over. I hope I do a good job, obviously. I want to be proven right in the near future, come May 2026. I am hoping these predictions are good. I think these are okay predictions. I think these are very true predictions, and I think they will be okay. Stay tuned on my channel anyhow. There will be more videos that will be uploading in the coming weeks, because it will be the start of the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League seasons, which we all know will be broadcasted on, well, everywhere, but coverage and my power rankings and that will all be on Right Here Rambo. As just like that, then I will get going. I will see you soon. Stay safe. I'll be talking to you a lot then in the next one. See ya, and bye bye.